I'm starting an app from scratch. And my goal is to build an app that helps aspiring designers overcome the self doubt that keeps them from becoming the designers they already have the potential to be. So, this is an app I genuinely wish had existed when I started learning design. Not another place to watch courses or collecting knowledge, but a product that helps people believe in themselves enough to take the next step. Hi, my name is Nayama. I'm a UX and product designer, and I'm also going to build an app in public, not as a polished success story, but as an honest journey. I will share the brainstormings, the research, the design decisions, the mistakes, the pivots, everything I learned along the way. So let me talk more about the project and also share the first step of building the app. So 3 years ago, I started a project called Bubble Brain. And back then, it was going to be an educational platform where I would share everything I was learning about design. I designed the logo, created a mascot, chose colors and typography, and I even built a landing page, as you see. But then, life happened. I got my first design job. I got busy, and Bubble Brain sat in a folder for almost 3 years. When I opened it again, I realized something. The project hadn't changed. I had. And back then, I thought people needed more designing knowledge, But after working as a product designer myself, I realized that knowledge isn't always what's holding aspiring designers back. There are already thousands of courses, YouTube videos, books, communities, and now AI, should teach you stuff. The problem isn't finding information anymore. It's applying it with confidence. It's believing you are good enough to call yourself a designer, That's why I decided not to continue the old Bubble Brain project. But before designing a single screen or writing any code, I'm going to show you where I'm picking up this project from. I wanted to brainstorm out of my ideas first. And I think this is one of the most important steps when building a product because sometimes we jump straight into the solutions before even fully understanding the problem. It's like, I don't want to start driving right away before deciding where I'm going. It does make sense. So here's a tip. To do this brainstorming, I'm using ChatGPT. But instead of opening a brand new chat every time, I created a project folder specifically for Bubble Brain. Because a project lets you keep everything in one single place. Your conversations, screenshots, ideas, And as the project evolves, the AI can build on previous discussions instead of starting from scratch every time. And that makes the brainstorming much more effective because you are having one continuous conversation about your product rather than a bunch of disconnected chats, So I'm using ChatGPT for this, but Cloud and Gemini have similar projects workspace, so you can use them if you want. The important thing here isn't the AI that you're choosing. It's giving the AI the full context, so the AI can challenge your thinking and help you explore your ideas more deeply. So I created a project, gathered all my old Bubble Brain files like screenshots, ideas, my notes of my main ideas, and asked the chat to act as my partner. And this was exactly the prompt that I wrote. I want to create an app called Bubble Brain. You are going to help in this brainstorm process. And for this, I'm providing you some screenshots and some notes about the main ideas. I want to challenge my assumptions and help me understand the real problem. Who the product is for, the emotional journey, and the transformation Bubble Brain should create. Act as a strategy partner, UX researcher, and design critic. And I'm also uploading screenshots of the old Bubble Brain project. So the more context I give the AI, the better it can understand where the idea started. So the main goal here wasn't to get all the right answers right away, but it's like asking the better questions, the best questions are. Because if you understand the problem deeply enough, the solution becomes much easier to design. So as I read through the conversation, I realized some of the feedback was really worth digging into. For example, in this part here, it talks about information versus noise. And the insight is great. Like I kept saying that people don't struggle because they lack knowledge anymore, and it agreed with me, but only partially. It pointed out that today the real challenge isn't finding information, but is knowing what information actually matters. With AI courses, YouTube, books, communities, etc., social media, maybe is deciding what to focus on, because information is everywhere. And that made me wonder if Bubble Brain shouldn't teach it anymore. Maybe it should help reduce the noise instead. So that insight went straight to my list, of interesting goals, and stuff that I want to have in my app. And I spent almost 1 hour having this conversation, and taking notes of my ideas and taking notes of really resonate with me. I try to align the feedback and critiques with my own vision for Bubble Brain, making sure they still supported the goals and purpose I want that the app to achieve. All right, this was part 1 of building an app from scratch. I think everything I learned during this first step was incredibly valuable, and I'm super excited to share what comes next. And if you are interested in seeing how digital products are actually built from massive brainstorming to final product, I would love to have you here following along in this journey. So if you have any questions, ideas, feedback, or even criticism, please reach out. I genuinely love hear people's perspectives. And after all, the best projects aren't built in isolation. They are shaped by the people and they are meant for people. So see you next time.